Good morning, traders. That's the theme of the day. A little free falling. And we're just coming back to a little bit of a reality check. Um, Yesterday, they took no prisoners. And of course, first month, let alone after the first week, we start to, you know, try to come into balance maybe a little bit. And today, you could see what the market did. We closed on our highs. We had this huge rally. Take no prisoners. You could see how this looks when I expand the structure, the market profile structure into a 30-minute chart. We only had one period here and here where the market just took a break, but still stayed inside. So single time framing all the way up for the most part, except for two periods. Now, usually when we do that, it's a little bit too much too fast, and you get these single prints. We come back and we fill them in. As you know, I like to call it the cave, right? So, and during the Europe session and this pre-market session, we're doing a little filling in the blanks here, which I think during the ES session will continue to do a little back and forth, some back and fill. This 4772 is a low volume area. This is where we had a little bit distribution before we started to take off again. And this was also key here where we poked below it, poked above it, and tested it. So going all the way back, and it's a low volume area, which of course attracts and detracts like high volume areas. So it's like a valley, if you want to call it, right? So we're about to test the 7273. It's very possible that we hold up there, but let the market stop and uh, give us a sign that maybe this is going to be the area to hold up, which I think we will. It's right around the 120 EMA as well. Comes in pretty close to this. I think the EMA is like right around 7250. So anywhere between 72 and 73, this might hold up. We'll see. Okay. My pivot though is up at 4790, and that's the below this distribution that we had late in the day, and that's where the single print started. So that's also right around the top of the value area from yesterday's U.S. session. So this should be the playground for now. If they get below 72, well, bets are off. We can get down to 47, 62. Now, and that's a pretty big area. That's kind of like the inside pocket coming back into it. But I think the market might try to hold up here. I would be looking for this area to hold. If it does indeed get below 72, we could do a full retest down to that point of control from yesterday, the inside pocket of 4760 to 61. All right, let's move on. We'll come back to the ES. Let's take a look at the crude. The crude did a nice cave fill this morning. Actually, it had a gap. We opened up here, and the gap, I'll just highlight it. I took it out because we filled it after the 8 o'clock opening, right? And so the original gap was right here. Oh, hang on a second. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta fix a few things. Okay, so here's the original gap. When we opened up here, it's actually a good point to short because it was the point of control over here. You could see from the previous overnight, pretty close, a little bit above the overnight highs. So all we did was come right back down, fill this gap. And that was from the gap of Friday's low to yesterday's high. Now, this is also yesterday's high, of course, that we held up. I don't know that we're done testing it. I think we can even get back down to the pivot 71.53. Call it 50, 71.50. So for the time being, I put that in just to show you that the gap got filled this morning. All right. So we could come back into it because we have single prints all the way down to the pivot. So 71.50, 55 should be possible. It could be possible. And that would be a big area. If we take out 71.50, we might go for a full retest down towards the $70 mark again. Okay. All right. Let's move on. See what the other charts look like. Here's the gold. The gold is trying to catch a little bit of a bounce, put in a reasonable low here, and I think we might leave this low alone. I think the gold can get up to this red zone, which we had a lot of, reasons for holding up here. You can see the highs at this point. You can see the point of controls from Friday and Thursday, the high from the previous overnight highs, all in this red zone, I call it. So when we get up there, which I think we'll try to test into it, and when we hold up, if we have some price overlap and then trade below it, then we'll go to the other side. So we might have some back and forth. So far, it held the pivot. The pivot was pretty much below the structure, the overnight structure, but we did a nice cave fill, went down to the point of control from the overnight lows. And then sure enough, this morning we held the bottom of this distribution near this previous low. So you might see a little bit of a test up again. We tested above this high volume node 2047.48 and maybe get up to this 2054 area. I'm not that convinced that the market's going to back off much. I'm more in the camp that we'll try to stay above this previous US session highs, right above the 2040-43 area, and maybe make a play for this early in the morning, this 2052 to 54. So this EC is having a lot of whiplash here. You can see boom, boom, back up this big over the top, range that we had from last week. And here we are just trying to balance pretty much smack in the middle of this high and low range that the market had last week. So, by the way, we do have a gap that we left from Sunday night from the previous or Monday night on the 1st. So this is kind of an area where we might just do a little scalping back and forth. My pivot comes in at this 109.88. High volume node, previous US session POC. We had highs there, a little, area here. We had this low from that, sell. It is pushed down on Monday night. So that's going to be a pivotal area. We get back above, let's say 109.90. We can do a full retest of yesterday's US session highs. But I'm more in the camp that we might be in a little bit of a scalping mode. You can see we came back down, held this overnight low, which is a pretty key area anyway. Okay, so unless we get below 109.55, let's say, the market should hold up, and we're working on a small range as we speak. All right. Oh, so much fun and joy on the first couple of weeks of the year, right? The bonds are trading inside this also, like very similar to the EC because they're cousins, right? We had a overshot to the upside and downside. First, we went down and went up here, and all we're doing is coming into balance. You can see the what we did yesterday during the U.S. session came into the top of this area, didn't quite make it all the way up to retest the highs from the fifth, and then we came all the way back. Well, we started here and we went up here, but for the U.S. session, we started on the lows, tested the overnight lows, held, and then we went to the other side, which is pretty normal. And we're just filling in the center of this big range that we have. So my pivot comes in right around this 122.17, right above the 200 SMA, and the overnight highs just poked above it, did not really confirm uh, of a breakout to the upside. It was only a test. And here we are. I think we're going to continue to do this cave fill. And you can see how these cave fills work. Let me just do this for a second. You know, this was the ledge here from the overnight. Here's the ledge from the lower part of this uh, wedge. And then, of course, if you draw, just kind of connect the dots, you could see this is where we're doing a little filling in the blanks. Just this is undeveloped as well. So that's all we did. Now, if we get above the overnight highs, all bets are off. We can probably go for the 123 level. So you get above 122.19-ish, then 123 could be a possible test. All right, let's go back to the starting page, our main drawing board here, right? And I want you to take a look at this, how this crude worked out today. When we looked at that K-fill, and just bring this up, just an interesting. Sometimes these moves happen early and can't really, you got to be up a little early to catch it. But when we opened up and went above the overnight highs right here, we made this high, we came back down, and this was a nice test of this high, right? And you can see we had good volume testing it. We went up and the same amount of volume just about coming down, confirming that that was a good high. And that was right around here. And of course, we had this, you could see how the volume picked up as we broke. And now we're doing some price overlap. So that might be it for the time being in this crude. All right, let's get back to business here. Let me just clean this up for you. Right. You can see here this level is 42, 43 is going to be pretty big in the gold. I think we'll come back and give it another test. We're kind of doing some trading inside this opening range. And that's about it for the gold. And the SPOOs working the 72 to 73 area. Okay. And we talked about earlier. So let's see if this holds. It's over here. You can see during the Europe session, we filled all these single prints, but for the most part, the US session opening will want to come in and do some better work inside here. So, I can't say it's filled until the US market today when we reopen, uh, trades back into these single prints, right? So right now we're testing the 72 area, which happens to be right around the 120 EMA, and it's a pretty big area. It's like I said, the valley, you've got the high volume and the low volume. This is a low volume area, and which also can act as support. All right, so I'm gonna grab some coffee and get ready for the opening. We have 12 minutes to go, and we'll go from there.